Ta-da! And welcome to Josef's Hi-Fi. In today's video, I just want to take a quick minute to talk about brands and reliability. And in this particular one, just because I've picked this one up as an absolute bargain, we have the Denon C630 professional CD player, DJ CD player, broadcast CD player. We'll come to that in a different video. But what I'm just talking about is just regarding brands and what you're getting out of them. As I've matured in life after purchasing my first car, which, while it was a great car, probably the best of its lifespan, was already used up by the time I bought it. And that can be understandable with a lot of second-hand equipment, of course, and particularly in the hi-fi world, you all know what I'm talking about. As life evolved, though, I got to a point where the car would get me from point A to B half the time. In other words, some friends want to go to the movies to see a movie. We drive to the movies and the car wouldn't start and go home. And various reasons, actually, it was I never had to get towed in that car, I should be fair. More so, it was a little early on in life with its electronics and other problems that had to do with transmission and things like that. But we're not discussing the cars at the moment, other than the most popular car in Australia in the year 2022 has been Toyota, and indeed it's the Toyota Hilux, a 4x4, of which I do not drive a 4x4. But we do have Toyota cars. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the hi-fi world and electronics in general. And the reason why I'm just taking a moment to mention this is that I've gotten to a point now where a lot of the features that come with a lot of equipment, I'm not really interested. I am interested in reliability. And I think that's a really big thing. For example, the appeal of this CD player, while it might not seem like the audiophile type of equipment people will have in their racks and setups, is I'm not really interested in the functionality of, that really does look good, and look at these features, and look at how I can AirPlay with this and do all these cool things. What I'm interested in is it going to work, and is it going to keep working well? A lot of you will remember some of your first CD players. As the music got going, the CDs could tend to skip as the bass got going, which sort of didn't feel like we really achieved much from the days of playing a record. Of course, we had anti-shock CDs that came out. You'll certainly remember the Discmans. I've still got mine, and that did make some radical improvements, any more than as we had the slot loading ones that were in cars. Things had made improvements. Not perfectly, but we were getting better. What I do love about this sort of stuff, I'm big for rack-mounted equipment, and that goes with the other part of our business that we do, so I'm always going to be looking at rack-mounted equipment, but that's really neither here nor there. For most of the times, you can unscrew the rack ears out and away we go. What I am interested in, particularly these devices, is they were built to go. You put the CD in, away it went. Very fast seek and retrieve times when you were looking for tracks. It's like that. I can pause, cue tracks, accessing them very, very quickly. None of this sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, trying to get to track number, 187. Maybe you're using a soundtrack CD. I don't know. This would all become very, very quickly. These particular devices, fantastic. Pitch control, certainly not a feature I'm not using. I certainly know on one of the radio stations that was being used in South Australia, I'm not going to mention the names, but it was an easy listening station that had the low voices and love song dedications, of which you could tell that the pitch fader was usually pitched down 1 to 2. Enough that when you heard the song, you wouldn't really notice it. I mean, even these days, Shazam, you need to be sort of out of sync by at least, I think it was 5. I believe we're now 10 beats a minute you need to be out of, and it won't detect it. And that's pretty interesting. I should do a video on that another day. But the interesting thing it was slowed down a bit. So you sort of sonically, you started to feel a bit sleepy. I don't know if that's part of the easy listening experience, but that's just something to be aware of. But it's a big thing, and everything from the sort of tactile approach to where the buttons are located and how to access them in dimly lit nightclubs and all the rest of it. Everything is really built to go well. The other good thing is, if you can get it, pardon me, for a good price, is the fact that even on the second-hand market. Parts are easily available, and these things are built like a tank. I suppose the other thing, and I don't mind saying I only paid $50 for this particular unit, which is all in 100% working condition, and we're going to see used in a different video, is we don't just have, as we traditionally would have in our CD player apart from the power output, we also had the our standard unbalanced RCAs, which was on all CD players. We also do have a digital out. Yes, we saw that in later ones, DVD players and things like that. Also, we have the 16-pin connection for remote control. Again, if this was set up in a broadcast environment or what have you. But we also have the balanced outputs as well, which we start to see in higher end hi-fi equipment and pro audio applications, which of course is where this comes from. And again, where we can also adjust the output levels accordingly. So it's really, it's obviously got its fair share of battle scars. You can see the bend on that faceplate there at the moment, but a solid piece of reliable equipment, and Denon being quite a reputable name. So let's just have a quick chat about brands, and I'm just talking about stuff that I know. As I grew up, I'm certainly a big Sony person. I don't mind buying a Sony TV, and Sony's a pretty globally available product, and the price is usually a little more expensive than some of the other models, but I've never had a bad Sony product. That's the end of the story. That's all I need to say. I've got all my old CD players, DVD players, all my old hi-fi components are still out there, which we'll see in later videos and things like that. I haven't had a problem, but I know people are having issues with things. That's just the way brands and things like that work. But let's take another one, Apple, for example. Now, I've been working and fixing with Apple computers way back from the start there with the old black and white classics and the LC475s and all the goodies that we've had in between. And what's interesting, particularly with Apple, is they've always made a quality product, and they do stand behind that. I suppose, though, if we were just to go back probably in the last 10, 15 years, and I think it's particularly ever since the explosion of the iPhones and things like the, the iPads and things like that, I've never seen more sadder Macs. In other words, they've gone beyond their warranty period, something's happened, and a production line that maybe was making 50 every hour, probably Apple have production lines making things that are 5,000 every hour. Look, I don't know, but things do go wrong. I mean, obviously it's just the popularity in the brand, and we have so many products, but we do see more. So I'm not saying there's any one particular brand that's the be-all end-all, but there are some that continually seem to be good. Now, anyone that's in the hi-fi world will sort of stick with brands and names they know for the most part, and or some of the lesser known brands, but companies that really are there from the get-go, which I'm going to talk about one in a few videos time. But let's just take a moment now to go back to that example I was saying about Toyota. When Toyota first came to Australia, they weren't what they are now. They had problems, electrical problems, all sorts of issues. But as the years have gone on, including the latest ad campaign in 2022, they make mention about the Land Cruiser will get me home, it's law. They've become such a reliable thing. Are they the fastest? Are they the best? Are they the best equipped? It doesn't matter. Its reliability is why people are buying them. And I don't mind saying we drive Toyotas, and I'm not going to lie, the reason of purchasing them is because of that. We've never ever had a problem, even in my beloved daily drive that I use, which is already at 430 something thousand kilometers. It's never missed a beat. I've never done anything other than a regular service, changing tires and putting petrol in. There's never been a major mechanical thing, and it's had the brakes changed twice in its entire lifetime, which I think is fantastic. And yes, I do stop. But it's other companies that do this as well. For someone like me that works into the world of computers and repairing and stuff like that, two brands that have consistently stayed ahead of the pack for the entire time I've been doing it has certainly been the IBM Thinkpad, which has recently moved over to the Lenovo bought the rights for that out. But it's still the Thinkpad brand. When people say to me, oh, I saw a Lenovo down at the store, and I said, yeah, but it's not a Thinkpad. It doesn't have the little red ruby light there and doesn't have the little nipple in the middle of the keyboard. It's not the same, and it doesn't matter. I mean, these are two different units effectively coming out of two different factories, but it's anyone that's used one before and anyone watching the video who knows about this will probably tell you that yes, he's talking about the right thing. Thinkpad do make a good product. So do others. Look, I'm not knocking other companies like Asus and Dell and all the rest of it, but just throughout the history of time and what I've seen is, once again, they might not have the greatest numbers, the greatest features, but their product is consistent, and parts down the track, if you need them, seem to be quite readily available compared to maybe when you need a replacement part for your Microsoft Zune or something. I don't know. Another brand which I think is fantastic has got to be the Panasonic Toughbooks. Now, this is an old school CF18, and of course it's still working with, as you can see on the logo here, it's a Windows XP one. Now, anyone that's seen the video, I'll just run a couple of quick bits of footage here. These things get absolutely used and abused, and it's hard to believe that they could be almost indestructible. I can attest to a few accidents that I've had with mine that they do. I still, while it's running XP for all the diagnostic equipment I still need to run, there's a magnificent unit. And really, it's hard to believe that you've got something that is built that is just so tough. It's still, you know, remember, this is a touchscreen before touchscreen was basically brought to the masses of the rest of the world. You know, it doesn't really matter, you know, what we're going to try and do to it. It's going to just keep going. Now, that's a heck of a concept that they've built, and yes, you pay for it, which is why I obviously don't recommend it to the average consumer. I'll make mention of it, but it may not fit the budget sort of at a unit that's starting at well beyond $5,000. But they've really got that formula right. And I think it goes with a lot of the audio equipment you look at, and for any of the people that knock and bash some of the brands, but I just keep using McINTOSH Audio, McINTOSH Labs, and PS Audio. Obviously, two American companies, very proud of their heritage and what they do, but if you dig deep into the ethos of the way they're building and manufacturing and doing things, they're very proud of what they're doing, and they're going to be there to support you, even if you come in and say, yeah, I bought this amplifier 50 years ago, I think I've got a problem. This is what this is all about. They're there. Now, how many times can you walk in and say, oh, I've got a problem with my Sony TV, yeah, it's this long, it's a dying sort of thing. So I think if you can try and select pieces that have that sort of ethos to it, I think you're really selecting some quality products. We have to also look to the future when we talk about the brands, because there are so many new brands that have turned up that we could argue the fact they haven't exactly proven themselves any more than with the current world situation. Have we truly got a company that's got their head around a 100% effective remedy or antidote or vaccine to this current situation? In time, I'm sure we're going to be all over it any more than any of the other modern inventions that we've come across in humankind. And I guess that's the thing. We can't discredit it. Yes, we've got companies that have a very long history behind them, and we've got some new ones that come up, and whether you're a diehard purist like me who loves my Megami cables when there are clearly more superior choices in the hi-fi world, the reason I choose the Megami cables is because of, from the live sound application, the reliability and the sound quality that is consistently delivered in that strand of cable, I think is absolutely phenomenal. Time and time again, I bank my business on that cable. The show must go on, and these cables won't let me down. And that brings us through to the new players, such as the likes of brands like Sonos, who have created their own brand by the demand that was needed. Simplicity. I mean, simplicity and connectivity to current and modern devices. The likes of S-Word Audio, yes, I'm talking about Schiit Audio, who are making phenomenal devices at realistic price points. Or indeed, KV2 Audio, which for sound reinforcement on a small to medium scale, I truly think is an incredible sound. If you've never heard a KV2 system, you're going to be absolutely blown away. Like hearing a full-blown line array system coming from a package that is impossibly small. Well, that now concludes this video talking about brands and reliability. We all know which way we want to go with this sort of interest, but certainly when you're particularly fossicking through for your second-hand stuff, there's a reason why people are hanging on to a lot of the key brands, because they do get it right. Research, development, consistency, it's what it's all about. So the next time you're buying a car, a laptop computer, or you're investing in your pride and joy hi-fi equipment, just make sure you do a bit of homework on the company and the brand that you're looking at. As mentioned, coming up in a future one, we're going to look at a little less known amplifier brand that I've managed to acquire that has some rather interesting history. So until the next one, stay safe. Toodles.